How many in the room here has ever felt a fire inside, knowing you were made for more? But you kept playing it safe, maybe playing it small, maybe even not playing at all. Thank you. Have you ever walked into a room full of people and thought to yourself, wow, they must have made a mistake letting me in? Have you ever said yes to something big while your inner voice whispered, you're not ready? You can't do this. Yeah, me too. Well, the ticket in my hand felt really small, but the fear I was carrying inside didn't. I mean, how hard could it be? It's a 1 day women's conference. I'll sign in, sit in the back, take great notes. It'll be fine. After all, Kelly will be here. Kelly was someone I just met at a monthly event. She offered me a free ticket. She said she'd be one of the speakers. That's really all I knew. And deep down, honestly, I didn't want to go. It had already taken everything I had just to show up at the event I was at. Why am I doing this to myself? Ugh. Have you ever felt like you're putting yourself on trial? Yeah, judging your every move, second guessing every choice? Thank you. Yeah, that was me. Well, I stood frozen outside the door. My heart was racing, wondering why something so small felt so overwhelming. But this fear wasn't new. As far back as I can remember, I'd always been shy. I was the kid who knew the answer, never raised her hand, afraid I'd say the wrong thing, stumble over my words, be laughed at. And even when I was sure, I stayed quiet. I didn't want to stand out, even though secretly I longed to belong, to be one of the kids who got it right, who felt like they truly fit. But my lack of confidence was pretty obvious. The other kids sensed it too. I was always the last pick for kickball, the first tagged out. And you know what? It didn't just sting, it settled in like a quiet confirmation that I wasn't enough. And it left me feeling even more unworthy to speak up, to be seen, to be chosen. Who here has ever felt like you're on the outside looking in, like there's something just a little different about you? Yeah, I get it. I was always introverted, a deep thinker, someone who spent more time observing than participating. I learned by watching how people acted, how things worked, where I might fit in. And if something didn't make sense, I couldn't let it go, kind of like a bulldog with a bone. I had to figure it out. But that kind of focus got me labeled as weird. So I compared myself to others constantly and always came up short. Others seemed to move through the world so easily. I watched them laugh in groups, raise their hands, walk into rooms like they belonged there. And I'd sit there wondering, why can't I be like that? What is wrong with me? And I never said it out loud, but I started to believe, hey, maybe I just wasn't built for belonging. Still, underneath all that fear and silence, something inside me stirred, a quiet longing to become who I was meant to be, even as I kept shrinking, blending in, or even disappearing. Well, I finally found the courage to grab the door handle and walk inside. There was a sea of women who filled the lobby. They were chatting near the check in table about 15 yards away. It felt like 5 miles. 10 steps in, I finally remembered to breathe. Would everyone in the room here please take a deep breath in with me? Okay, now let it out slowly. Thank you. I appreciate that. I feel you here with me. So I reached registration, grabbed my name tag and notebook, and wove my way through the crowd to the seat in the back, the corner where I was safe. I opened up the binder and scanned the agenda. There were going to be 5 speakers and 4 breakout groups. Are you kidding me? After each talk, we'd have to find 3 other people that we hadn't met before to mastermind. Oh my gosh, the words landed hard, so hard. Heat rushed to my cheeks. A voice in my head screamed, "Leave now! No one will notice! No one will care!" But I couldn't move. I was paralyzed, caught between the door I walked through and the voice in my head begging me to walk back out. Then it happened. The lights dim, and just like that, every seat filled. How many of you have ever been in a room and felt so out of place you just wanted to run? Huh? I know there's a few in here. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for being honest. Well, if I could have, I would have snapped my fingers and bing, bang, boom, poof, landed in the dang parking lot. Heck yeah, I wanted to run. But when I looked down my row, filled with all those women, it felt like the universe had just closed the exit. And there I was, trapped in that seat, stuck, staying, and desperate to leave. Well, a hush fell over the room. As one of the organizers stepped on stage, she grabbed the mic, welcomed everyone, then she briefly walked through the day's agenda, which only furthered my state of panic. And then she introduced the first speaker. Hey, it was Kelly. And she looked nervous. Wait, is she nervous? Has anyone else ever looked at someone you thought was confident and realized, hey, they're just trying to hold it together? Yeah, that was Kelly in the moment. And that surprised me. Because when I first met her, she'd come off so cocky, confident. We hadn't met but 3 minutes when she proudly announced, I am a network hoe. A network hoe? Oh my God, I know, right? You can laugh. I did. And I still do. It caught me off guard, but I kind of secretly love that she owned it. Hey, if the mini skirt fits, wear it, right? Network hoe. Well, anyway, she seemed to own the room as she bounced from person to person to person. But now, under the stage lights, her energy kind of shifted. She looked kind of pale, a little shaken. Then she began to speak. Honestly, I cannot remember a word she said because by that point I was so deep in my own head. My heart was racing, my stomach was tight. I was rehearsing all the ways I was going to mess up at the breakout sessions. Well, after she finished, we were dismissed for a quick 5-minute break before the next speaker and group mastermind. As the row began to clear, I saw my chance to bolt, but then Kelly caught my eye as she walked toward me. She was smiling, and she seemed pretty happy I'd come. When she got near, she leaned in slightly, like she was about to confess something. And then she admitted she had been nervous. Speaking was actually a new thing for her, but since her mentor had voluntold her for this event, she just did it. And then she said it slowly, with intention. I do it because I have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And in that moment, something inside me shifted. Comfortable being uncomfortable. Comfortable being uncomfortable. What does that even mean? Well, I didn't know it then, but that phrase really would change everything, not just for me, but for how I show up in my life and in my work today. Comfortable being uncomfortable. Comfortable being uncomfortable. Because I run when I'm uncomfortable. There's no fight, it's all flight. I hide, I shrink, I stay silent. But Kelly didn't. She stood there, nervous, and did it anyway. How many of you know you've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable in order to be seen? Huh? In order to get what you want, in order to do that thing that you were meant to do. Yeah, well, good for you. Well, I couldn't shake it, so I kept repeating it like a mantra. Comfortable being uncomfortable. Comfortable being uncomfortable. Comfortable being uncomfortable. And then you know what happened next? Me, Kara, did not leave. Nope. I sat down, I took a breath, and when it came time for group sessions, I very uncomfortably, skin crawling, turned to the woman sitting next to me and asked if she wanted to be my partner. You know what she said? Do you know what she said? She said yes. And for some of you, that might not sound like a big deal, but for the girl who was always picked last and feared rejection, that yes meant everything. Two others joined us. We introduced ourselves, and just like that, it began. Did the day get easier? No, not really. But I stayed. I stayed. And that was enough. When the event ended, and I walked out the door, I wasn't suddenly more articulate. I didn't all of a sudden become outgoing or conquer every fear, certainly not in a single afternoon, but I was different in a good way. Because for the first time in a long time, I showed up. And that one moment led to another and another and another, with each bringing one little sliver of change. So if you're wondering how I got from that back row seat to standing here today, it didn't happen overnight. It happened one small, uncomfortable, imperfect step at a time. And there was a very real moment. I almost didn't take that first step. Well, if I'd walked out, it would have been one more silent exit, one more confirmation of the lie I'd believed, that I wasn't meant to lead, that I wasn't enough. But here's what I've come to realize again and again: confidence doesn't come first, it shows up after you do. And over time, those steps don't just build courage, they build credibility. Because when you move through fear and discomfort, you don't just grow, you become more visible, more connected, more aligned with who you've been put on this earth to be around, to learn from, to help. So I'd like to share with you three powerful truths, not just about growth, but about voice, visibility, and building a brand that reflects who you really are. And now, these are just mindset shifts. They're the strategic foundation behind building a powerful, profitable digital presence. And as I walk you through these next three steps, you'll know this: they're not just part of my story, they're part of the system I now use to guide others through theirs.